the game, cause see the boxing voice.
At Showtime Championship Boxing, we are all about the best fighting the best in unification fights, big fights. It was a fight that Robert Easter Jr. wanted this fight. Part of our triple header. And when you talk about the lightweight division, unification is rare. This will be only the 10th unification fight in the history of the lightweight division. First one came in 1941. The last unification fight at lightweight was nearly a decade ago, 9 years ago. The last time Showtime Championship Boxing brought you a unification lightweight fight, 13 years ago, 2005, and it was one of the greatest fights ever. When you had Diego Corrales stop Jose Luis Castillo in the 10th round. If this fight is anything like that, it should be one hell of a night, Saturday night at Staples. So let's start with the trainers. Robert Garcia. I think you've been trainer of the year like 500 gazillion times, right? Training of his brother. How much of a risk is Mikey taking by fighting Robert, who has such a height and reach advantage?
Look, there's always risk in any fight, but we're very well prepared. Mikey's mentally ready for a big challenge, and there's always risk. There's risk. This guy's very tall. I'm sure he's gonna try to use his reach and try to fight on the outside. But we're ready for whatever he brings.
Robert Easter Jr., the IBF lightweight champion, he's got a tag team. When you talk about trainers, his father, Robert Easter Sr., and then he has Kevin Cunningham. And we know the stable that he now trains with Kevin. Devin Alexander, Erickson Lubin, Gervonta Davis, and on and on and on. So this is the first fight that you guys have had together. Robert, first time you spent the entire time in Florida, away from Toledo, Ohio. In fact, Robert Easter, the only world champion ever from Toledo, Ohio. Kevin, what fundamentally did you have to change with Robert once he joined Camp Cunningham in Florida?
Well, from a fundamental standpoint, there wasn't any major changes. I mean, Robert's always been a tremendous fighter. He's an excellent boxer when he wants to box. Basically, we just, put extra emphasis on how we want to fight Mikey Garcia. And, I think he has the natural skill and ability. And like you said, he's 6 feet tall, lightweight, long reach. And, we are prepared to dictate the tempo, control distance, range, and everything that we really want to do. He's done it the last 10 weeks in camp, and I think he's going to do it on Saturday night.
Robert, you talk with your brother. Obviously, Mikey's going to make his own decisions, but when you guys are talking about taking fights, did Robert Easter Jr.'s past 2 performances make you guys more inclined to take this unification fight?
First of all, you didn't mention my stable.
Oh, man, we'd be here all day. Your stable's long.
Look, I didn't even see those last 2 performances. We're ready for the best Robert Easter. Mostly everybody thinks he lost against Fortuna. So that's not the fight that interests me to watch. I want to see the best Robert out there. There's very few fights out there where I could see, really see the best out of him. But we're ready. We're ready.
Kevin, you were quoted as saying Mikey overlooking, being disrespectful to Robert by not talking about him to the media and talking about other fighters and other fights. Expound on that.
Well, I mean, it's obvious that, basically, for the last couple of weeks, they're talking more about Earl Spence and Lomachenko than as opposed to talking about this fight on Saturday night with Robert Easter Jr. So I look at that as disrespect and overlooking. But I think I mean, he's got a seasoned trainer. And Mikey's a pro, so I mean, I don't think they are totally overlooking him, but I think it's totally disrespectful to talk about all these fights next when you haven't dealt with Robert Easter Jr. yet.
Let's talk to the fighters. Mikey, let's start with you. What does a unification victory over Robert Easter Jr. do for your legacy? And would you consider it a signature victory on your record?
Well, this is the first time I'll have a title unification match. It does mean a lot. Facing another undefeated champion in the same weight class, you know, it will definitely help my legacy and help my career. I feel that this is the best option, the best fight for me right now. I'm taking the steps, the proper steps to move forward and, like I always say, cement my name, cement my career for the ages. And there isn't another fight in front of me that does that other than the Robert Easter fight. Right now in my career, I'm all about taking the biggest fight, the biggest challenge, and that's why I'm taking this. I feel that Robert Easter is a tough, undefeated champion who is coming with everything he has. This is also his biggest fight. So him bringing the best out of him will only allow me to bring the best out of me. And that's why I really asked for this fight. That's why I wanted this. We were looking at options, but nothing else interested me or nothing else excited me enough like this fight.
Robert, you know, it's interesting just talking with some of the people here, and you talk about it to a number of people about this fight, and just about everyone keeps picking Mikey Garcia. Does that upset you? Does that motivate you?
It is what it is, you know, fans, you know, they have their favorites. You know, you either gonna pick one guy or the other, you know. So, we did what we had to do in training camp to prepare for this fight, and July 28th, you will see.
Have you felt like you've been overlooked?
No, not exactly. I really don't pay attention to all, you know, the overlooking, he say, she say. July 28th, we still gotta get in the ring. You know, we still gotta get in there and throw these hands. So all the talk, that doesn't bother me.
Mikey, when you talk about your weight division, great fighters, champions like yourself, champions like Robert, you got Lomachenko there. Do you believe the winner of this fight, best lightweight in the world?
I think a lot of that is up to opinions, and I don't, like, just like Robert says, he doesn't really pay much attention to what one says versus someone else. I don't really look at what the media might put down as best in the division or on any list, but overall, we're the only two undefeated champions in the division. So the winner should be considered the best. Whether some agree or not, that's their opinion. But in my eyes, this winner will determine the best in the division. We're the only two undefeated champions.
Robert, in a article you did with the boxing scene, you were quoted as saying, listen, Mikey Garcia, in my opinion, has been overrated. Who's really the big name he's beaten? You really believe that?
Of course, the only big name he has beaten is Adrian Bronner. You know, everybody knows that, you know. Like I said, champion versus champion, this is going to determine, you know, who is the better fighter out the weight class. Like you said, we're the only two undefeated fighters in this weight class.
What do you think a win over Mikey Garcia does for your career, your legacy that you're trying to build?
It's going to add, you know, big attention. You know, it does a lot for my career. You know, put me in a recognition, you know, where I'm supposed to be. Like I said, this fight right here is a big fight, but I look at all my fights like a big fight. But this is, you know, unification bout, champion versus champion, undefeated versus undefeated, two warriors. You know, July 28th, you will see, you know, a lot of fireworks and excitement.
Mikey, could you really, when it boils down to it, see yourself fighting at welterweight, considering, I think you said at 140 you're at a disadvantage because those guys are big. So why could you see yourself fighting at welterweight next, and especially someone like Errol Spence, who is probably one of the bigger, powerful welterweights?
I'm telling you, I'm here to take the biggest fight, the biggest challenges, and that's why I'm willing to move up to welterweight. I'm very serious when I say that I will be at welterweight very soon. I really look forward to taking on someone like Errol Spence for that reason, because everybody says, don't do it. It's the biggest threat, the biggest challenge. I'm way out of my league trying to go there. That's what actually excites me and motivates me the most. I want to prove everybody the kind of fighter that I am. And I haven't had those opportunities yet. I've been fighting, you know, champions and undefeated champions, but it seems like I'm always the favorite. It seems like my accomplishments don't get enough credit sometimes because, well, you're supposed to win. You're supposed to beat that guy. But a fight with Errol Spence is a whole different league, and that's why I'm really interested in getting that fight.
We'll wrap it up with this same question to both of you. Start with you, Mikey. First time for you fighting here in 7 years. Back home, what should we expect Saturday night?
Bueno, este sábado va a ser una gran noche de boxeo, gran pelea. Estaré peleando aquí por primera vez en 7 años, que es bonito regresar aquí a casa, sentir el apoyo de todo mi público, todo aquel que no ha podido ir a mirarme a mis otras peleas en otros estados, ahora sí pueden venir y disfrutar aquí en vivo, aquí en Los Ángeles. Estoy muy contento, muy agradecido de que mi oponente aceptó venir aquí a Los Ángeles. Una gran pelea, en realidad 2 campeones, 2 invictos, vamos a pelear. No puedo estar más contento. Yo les garantizo que voy a dar todo de mí para salir con la victoria y salir triunfador el sábado por la noche. Well, I'm very happy to be here. It's been 7 years since I last fought here, and to be able to come back and give my local fans and people who support me an opportunity to see me live, you know, and not just a fight, but a world title unification match, you know, here at Staples Center is just a great thing. I'm very happy and thankful that Robert accepted the fight here in LA. I know other opponents would say no. I'm very happy to be able to give the fans this type of fight here at Staples. You know, now I'm coming back as a world champion, and I get to unify the titles here in front of my home crowd, hometown. You know, there's nothing better that I could ask for. This is it, and I'm ready to do everything it takes to win. And I guarantee everybody I'm gonna do everything in my part to come out victorious and unified champion on Saturday night.
And Robert, we'll end it with this. This place is kind of special to you too. Last time I looked, you made your professional debut in LA at Staples. Now you have the opportunity to unify. What should we expect Saturday?
Oh yeah, it's been a long time. Like I said before, you're gonna get a lot of action, a lot of excitement July 28th. And just expect the unexpected.
Ain't no other sight in the game could see the